It's another, classic Tennessee-Georgia game. This time, Georgia coming out on top with a 35-32 win. Defense was certainly optional in many parts of this game. Georgia's going to have to play a lot better than they did from here on out. But I do have to think and say I think Tennessee is better for sure than they have been in the past. They are probably going to be a player in the East this year. It seems like it to me. They're not overwhelmingly skilled necessarily. Their defense is not that bad. Anybody that's holding Georgia to less than 40 points here, one of those was a defensive touchdown, you're doing all right. So Willie Martinez and John Jancic did a pretty good job. It looked like Todd Grantham's defense was out there for a while today, particularly when when Gurley was going down the field on him, Justin Gurley. I mean, if they had all their receivers, you got to wonder just what Tennessee could have done. The short pass game was hurting Georgia at first. They got to start ending games, man. I mean, you don't allow a touchdown going into the half. I mean, that was a killer. This game is probably over at the half. A 10-point lead, Tennessee, and then and then Georgia gets, I think, a 10-point lead. Yeah, 28-17. And they just simply cannot end the game. A minute and a half later, Tennessee scores a touchdown. Time to start stepping it up. Now, if you wanted to find something today that you didn't like, there was plenty not to like. Let me go forward with that. Hudson's got to play better. He was definitely very down on himself today, probably with good reason. He was sacked 3 times, 2 interceptions. Getting sacked is one thing. 2 interceptions, that's just not going to work at all. Sony Michel getting hurt was bad. And the pass game is just not there right now for Georgia. It looks like almost certainly, Hudson told me afterwards, it looks like Justin Scott Wesley is definitely going to go next week. And it seems like Malcolm is a week-to-week thing. He was on the dress list today. I think if you get certainly Justin to stretch the field back, and Malcolm is a game changer. If he's regular Malcolm, then Georgia's offense becomes a little bit steadier, and they can throw it the way they want to. But, Gurley got hurt, and Tennessee looked completely dead. A.J. Johnson played great, 17 tackles. Good job for him. I'm trying to think of the other bad. I mean, mainly it was Georgia cannot do what it wants to do down the field. They can't strike the ball down the field. It's tougher for them to score, even though they're scoring, my guess is 48 points, 46 points a game now, averaging. The defense has got to get better at big moments to some degree. Now, the good, there's a lot of good now too. Anytime your defense scores a touchdown, you're probably going to win. That's what happened today. A touchdown, Josh Dawson from Tucker High School. I feel like I don't need to repeat that. But, the ball was on the ground. That was a mistake by Tennessee. But you got to give a couple guys credit there. Number one, Colin Barber getting the ball. I think it bounced on the 6 and rolled about to the 1. I think Swan got there and stopped it. So that's a great play by them. That was a game-changing, game-winning play, really. At that stage, Georgia went up with 4 minutes to go by 10. And and then not even 2 minutes later, Tennessee came down and scored. So Georgia's pass defense, everybody says how bad it is. And somewhat that, statistically they're not as bad as it seems. But I think the big thing is they're not getting off the field when you need them to. It's okay for a team to get up 10-0 in the first quarter. It's not okay for you to basically win the game and the other team's flying down the field. That's a real issue, and that's something that they're going to have to deal with from here on out. I mean, you're up 10 with 4 minutes to go. That should be the ball game. I mean, that should be the ball game. The defense should hold at that stage. But any other guy, I mean, you don't want to bury the lead. The lead is Todd Gurley, 208 yards on almost 30 carries, 28 carries. He had a 51-yarder, 2 touchdowns, one over the top that didn't quite look to me like he made it, but he did. And then, just him being him. I mean, he averaged 7.5 yards a carry without the benefit really of Sony today, and not a ton from Nick, who went 11 for 40. Hudson actually ran the ball pretty well for what he is. So this was one of those games that they needed to get out of here with a win. I mean, losses are not going to work at this stage. Now, the East, we don't know. I think if people think that Tennessee's not going to get a significant win somewhere this season, they're wrong. And I'm not talking about beating Florida. I'm talking about beating Missouri, Bama, South Carolina, whoever. And yeah, I said Alabama. I mean, the team that was here today, where do they play? Did they play that game in Knoxville, Wes? Alabama, Tennessee, is that in Knoxville? So that's a game that, you want to watch it a little bit if you're Bama. But I think Tennessee's not that bad. Now, Georgia's not totally itself yet without these guys coming in. But the big thing is the pass game has got to get going. And even if they are only going to throw it about 20 or maybe 30 times a game, you got to get it to where it's about 20 completions a game. That's what you'd like. You'd like to be, if you're going to only throw it 20 times, you'd like to be 16 for 21 or something like that. Georgia's 16 for 25. The issue was those 2 interceptions. Now, the defense played really well at times. They did. Scored a touchdown. Georgia turned it over twice. They stoned them. No touchdowns, nothing. No points off of the turnovers for the Vols. But it's time to start thrashing throats around here defensively and offensively too. And that was the issue today, was that Georgia just could not put the Vols away. And, they had to hold on to win 35-32. This game certainly could have been a 35-20 score, but, they didn't put them away. Now, next week, Vanderbilt's bad. All right, they're bad. So, I expect a pretty big Georgia win, but Arkansas looms. So does Missouri. We don't know what will happen with them in Columbia tonight, but East is not a simple deal. I mean, Georgia's probably played 2 of the best 3 that they're going to play in the East, and they've split them. So we'll see what happens from this point forward. Okay, Georgia wins 35-32. Todd Gurley goes for 208. Looks like he's going to New York City no matter what. Dean Legge for Dog Post here at Sanford Stadium.